Look
I mean,
at that
it's
guy.
not,
He's comfy. He looks comfy.
it's plush. It's soft, I imagine. He's got at least 6 in that image alone. A real
I don't know.
stable.
I feel like they're comfy. I feel like they sell well because they're comfy.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could see that. I imagine the printing on them has something to do with it too.
And what would that be?
You know, you run of the mill, your Princess Celestia, your
Are you just looking at the names now because you didn't memorize them?
hey, there's a lot of horses in this. There's a lot of ponies, but
There
any
are a lot
pony
of ponies.
could mix these up.
It is. I've realized I don't know, and this is maybe more of a thing on me. Like, this is why we do this show, right? I don't know if I love anything the way that some of these people love My Little Pony. And that's worse. That makes me feel bad about myself, except my beautiful girlfriend, of course. But like, I mean,
Right.
whew, almost caught straight. But I mean, like, you know, a property, like, man, there's pony tattoos. There are pony body pillows. I don't own shit.
I would beg to differ. I think your Green Lantern collection, maybe not in its current standing, but at one point was concerning.
Well, that's something else. Hi, everyone. Welcome into Fandom Social. My name is Paul, and this is Daniel. Daniel's in an undisclosed location because the Pony Mafia, I assume, is out to get you for your rantings.
I've upset the wrong
Go ahead.
Group of people.
Were you thinking of a pony pun?
I was. It's so hard. I don't know pony terms, and
I don't either. Yeah, it's pretty. They've got it pretty much on lock. And don't worry, guys. This is going to be full of pony puns. But welcome into Fandom Social. We've got a fandom focus for you all, where we are doing a bit of a deep dive into the fans that make up the fandom of Bronies, which are fans of the My Little Pony franchise. And I do believe that it was a Applejack Mafia. That sounds like a group of people who beat you with cereal until you're dead.
Like at a wedding where they throw rice, they're just throwing cereal.
They're just throwing cereal. Honestly, that's my dream. I wish people would just throw cereal at me. See, this is why we love these people who chime in.
That's a good
John. One. He's jockeying for better position. You see, Liza. Heard you loud and clear. Like loud and clear, the ponies. Get it? No, it's heard. I understand, Daniel. It's called a deviation joke. I read about it in my joke book. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome back. Like, comment, subscribe. Stop horsing around. I'm stealing your joke, Liza. I apologize, but I want everyone to be on their best behavior. We have some of our friends maybe chiming in from the various Brony groups that they were so kind of me to let me in and interview them. Unbridled. Oh, a bridle is the thing you put over the horse, right?
No, that's a girdle.
No, that's not a girdle. That's what we put over ourselves before we go out.
Don't give away my secret. Listen.
I'm pretty sure that's a horse pun. Unless Liza's just like, please, I'm just being serious. Not everything is a goddamn horse pun. But everyone, we've got a great show today. It's honestly been one that I've been kind of excited for. I pitched this show back in July to Daniel. And
I think before then, actually.
Maybe before then. So when I was still living in my old place, I pitched this show because I had met Brony, and a random person that I'd worked with who I had like no idea was a Brony. He chooses to remain anonymous, and I interviewed him a little bit earlier and talked to him. But he was just saying like, yeah, like there's like an entire community and there's so many various areas of Bronydom that he's like, you would never think would exist within the fandom. And it just really sparked an interest. And then obviously the show deviated a bit and it changed and we all got busy, but months later, finally got to the show. Daniel can attest to it. There was a real script. It's like 6 pages that I wrote.
Yeah.
God. And it's way too much ponydom. But hey, is for ponies. Let's get started. These aren't going to be great. I'm really running thin on pony jokes. I got so focused on like the actual content of the show. I was like, damn, this better be funny. This better be funny, or else again, that Applejack Mafia, they'll break your knees. All right. Well, hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Have a good night, sir. Count ponies to go to sleep. I know that helps. I know it helps me. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you don't have too many nightmares. Damn. A knight is a type of horse, Daniel. Oh. All right, everyone. Well, with that, let's get into the wild and fun and often misunderstood world of ponies. And with that, I actually wanted to start. Let me read my actual prepared intro first. All right, so tonight we're going to be exploring the fascinating world of Bronies, a fandom that's as unique as it is inspiring at times. While the idea of adults loving My Little Ponies has sparked curiosity and even controversy, it has also created a global community built on kindness, creativity, and of course, friendship. The fandom challenges stereotypes, celebrates individuality, and proves that joy can come from the most unexpected places. So whether you're a fan, you're a skeptic, or you're just curious, we hope that you'll join us, keep an open mind, sit on a bale of hay, and just hang out with us. Nice. Oh, I've been missing some great jokes here.
Yeah, the chat is lively. These people are on it tonight.
Oh, chomping at the bit. I get it. Behooved? Steve, I don't think you want to go to bed, man. This feels like a Steve episode. Steve, please don't leave. But anyways, so Daniel, I think you remember what I asked you to do? Did you do your one homework assignment other than producing and helping create an entire show?
I did.
Did you create a pony? So we created ponies, everyone.
We sure did. Now, did you name yours? I still haven't named mine.
Oh, I didn't name mine. We can have everyone else name them.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's see yours first, Daniel.
Okay, so here's mine. Let's reserve all questions to the end of the show and tell.
What is it? We don't judge. We listen.
We don't judge. We listen.
Oh, this is I like. Oh my! I already forgot the name of it. Not a pony mark. Cutie mark. Your cutie mark.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got a cutie mark. It's a lightning bolt and 3 stars. They've got blue hair, purple skin, pink eyes, and wings. Wings and the horn were like priorities for me. I was like, they're gonna be some kind of unicorn.
Fun. Okay, mine is increasingly more, I'd say, metal. How long? Well, let's just show mine. We got him. We got him. All right. Oh, solid Gargano.
Wild.
All right. So here's mine. I don't really want to get into it, but there he is. You see my cutie mark? I'm dedicated to the show, Daniel. It's the Fandom Social logo. He's got a pretty sick horn, evil little brown eyes like me, and he's got his headphones on, much like I do, and brown with the white hair. Honestly, I feel like this looks like me. Like this would be me as a pony.
It carries your essence. It really does.
Thank you.
It's got a bit of your vibe. Is that a horn? Like, does it have some kind of like?
It's got like one little offshoot horn.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Not to, well, I don't know if this is bragging per se, but I did spend about 2.5 hours on it. So,
okay.
How long did you spend on your pony, Daniel?
I'd say maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I don't know if you dove deep into. I'm sure you did 2 hours. I
did.
That website had so many buttons and sliders and like options that I was starting to get a little like frustrated and overwhelmed.
Like math? There's like math involved?
Yeah. And my eyes at one point I was like, oh, this eye looks cute. And then I like spun the model and the eyes were like in different directions.
You're like, oh no, I'm Buscemiing. Yeah, I will share the link to this afterwards. We should have done it before so people can send them in and we can share them, but we'll share the link to the site we use and everyone can make their own pony sonas and hang out. We could be one stable little social family. But All right, with that, let's go ahead and get into a bit more of the show. So, Daniel, are you ready?
On it.
All right, so I think first what we should cover is sort of the base timeline of what My Little Pony is, because it has gone through multiple iterations. It kicked off in, I believe, 1980, 1981, and has obviously predominantly started with the toy line, much like a lot of our favorite cartoons that have withstood the test of time. It started with G0 over there with Eeyore's art school little brother. You can see it in 1981, and it was pretty interesting. So My Little Pony was created by Hasbro in 1981, based on a concept by designer, I think, Bonnie Zackerley. And it started as a different toy line called My Pretty Pony, which was a larger, hard plastic pony with movable parts. You can see it there again, and it was introduced with that brushable hair in 1982, which it became a little smaller, a little bit more colorful, and that's really when the name of My Pretty Pony moved into My Little Pony. And you can see there, as a trend you're going to see in some of these ads that we brought up and some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, yes, they were very sad. They were always, and still to date, predominantly marketed to young women. That is important to remember going through and sort of getting back to the fandom in its current state. So we left off in 1982. So the franchise gained popularity with the animated TV special, storybooks, and of course the 1986 movie, My Little Pony, the movie. Again, really, really popular movie. Again, very similar. It reminds me of the My Little Pony, not My Little Pony, the Transformers movie, where like it really moved the medium. It moved it from a toy into a brand, and from a brand into like this sort of okay, guys, we're gonna have to save some of these for a bit.
No, these are great. These are cool. This is
Yeah.
These puns are funnier than anything I could have like written.
I
Honestly.
know. I'm the same. I was like, I've been working on this. I was like, this is not funny. This is only just knowledge. I was like, I'm really, really looking at Daniel here to add some levity. So we get into what is colloquially, God, that word, I struggle with that word, colloquially known as G1, which is from the 1980s to 1990s, right? So that's sort of the time frame we've just been in, but really wrapping up in the 1990s. That's the original toys and the shows that really brought in the core tenets of My Little Pony, being friendship, magic, and adventure. Also, the three things Daniel has tattooed on his neck: friendship, magic, and whiskey.
It's in UV ink. It reveals under black light.
Or stress, or immense, like it pops up under stress hives. Dwayne, did you see this comment? After the movie, it was hard to rein it in. It was, but they were. That's raking. They're raking in the bucks. Damn it. But Jen Edwards is the first movie I remember asking to rent. Did you get it, Jen? Like, did you remember watching that movie? Because I couldn't. I tried to watch a little bit of this movie. I couldn't find it. Just to see, obviously, like how it went from the reverse engineering of like these ponies to the 1986 ponies. I found that to be incredibly interesting. So, anyways, we move into G2, which are the slimmer pony designs, which also, dogs, which were less popular with designs. That 1997 design that you're seeing there, that was a bit of a Barbie-fication of the toys, I read.
They got yassified.
They were yassified?
Yassified? I say yassified. To
okay.
alleviate the amount of A's in that. Understood.
So the toys definitely changed because it definitely moved again from this let's call it what you want, but the corporate fat cats came in and they were like, oh, we can make these toys better. We can make more of them. We use less plastic and make more of them. And that means more money, but it didn't resonate with fans. So once we get into G3, it revived the classic pony look with fresh stories, new media, new books, new TV shows, like particular like bands that wrote new music for it. And this is like really from 2003 to 2009 that we're seeing the newer ponies, as I'm sure, again, I can't see anything right now, but I'm sure Daniel is bringing up for everyone. So
Yeah.
then this is when everything really changes, is with G4. Now, all of these ponies, they are, all of the previous iterations, all of the previous ponies that we looked at through that timeline that Daniel brought up, they are all equally important, but everything changes in G4 in 2010 with a show called My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, which was an animated series based on the Hasbro toys. It released on October 10th, 2010. It actually it celebrated its 40th anniversary last year on something known as the Hub Channel, which is now known as Discovery Family. And it ended after 9 seasons on October 12th, like almost 9 years to the date. And that incarnation became more known and more famous as the G4, or My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And that's really where our story with Bronies begins. Because while there were fans of everything, we did not publicly, at least, see a ton of fans latch onto the show, Daniel, until My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, also known as G4. But unlike other G4s, this succeeded. So that's a fun joke. I have a lot of friends who are a G4. If you guys are watching, like, comment, and subscribe. They would love that joke. Yeah, and with that, we have a ton of the different characters, maybe that Daniel brought up. Daniel, did you already bring them up individually? Because if not, we can kind of show them off here. So we've got...
I haven't, no. So we
all
got
right,
like...
well, let's bring up the main characters here, and then you can go
main
through
6.
Yes.
All right, so we got Twilight Sparkle, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Pinkie Pie, and... Wait, I think we're missing one.
Rarity.
Rarity.
Yeah. And then also included, like, not in that lore specifically, but like more prominently, is Princess Celestia and Luna, who I will say, they are sisters, and they, like, I believe, are like the rightful rulers of Equestria, which is the name of the planet, which is basically Equestria is like their Middle Earth. Just for anyone who's not following along, like myself, like I was so focused on the Brony fandom that, like, I was like, oh, I should probably learn about the ponies, and I was like, man, it is deep lore. Like,
over 9 seasons, you really get to, like, develop your stories, your characters.
Yeah,
I know at some point in the later seasons, they started bringing in, like, almost like a Doctor Who pony. They started, like, referencing things that were going on outside, and it kind of became a little more meta than it started as.
Yeah, and we've got a comment here from Jordan McCone. Jordan, if you're new, hi, welcome. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Jordan McCone says that Twilight is the best pony, and I believe that Twilight Sparkle, who is, if you can bring her up again, Daniel, is the predominant, what we would call the protagonist of Friendship is Magic, I believe. And again, if I butcher this, Applejack Mafia, please don't come after me. But I believe that here, I'll do my best to go through this real quick. But Twilight Sparkle is sort of like the assistant to Princess Celestia, along with their little friend Spike, and Princess Celestia is telling Twilight Sparkle, like, to take notes and learn how to be a friend, and with the help of Spike, whose powers are, like, he's like a really good note taker. He's a producer. Honestly, he's a producer, and he is a great note taker and can get notes to people magically. And through that, Twilight Sparkle learns about friendship with her friends Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Pinkie Pie, and Rarity. And then I think there's a bad guy. I forgot his name. Pagamon. I think Pagamon's the bad guy from Hereditary. Actually, the demon. But
Discord?
Again, Discord, which is ironic, which is because Discord is a nuisance for many of fandoms. But
absolutely.
They are 100% coming after you. I don't want to simplify again. Applejack Mafia, John DeLance. This is more about the fandom and not necessarily My Little Pony and its lore in general. Um, she says you killed it, meaning it was like she's like it's murdered. You've murdered the fandom single-handedly. Okay, so with that, we get into a little bit of what I would like to call, we've moved into like sort of what My Little Pony is in general, like what the bronies are attaching themselves to. So I wanted to get into what I call the anatomy of a brony. This is what we can consider part one. So part one, the anatomy of a brony. So it's a pretty interesting makeup. I had to go through a couple of different sources, whether just interviewing people in Facebook groups who agreed to talk to me or looking at sort of outdated research. So bronies are made up of all sorts of different people. I've single-handedly talked to firefighters, people who are as young as like 20, people who are cops and CEOs of like their own companies. And it's usually predominantly young to middle-aged males of all demographics and sexual orientations. There are several men who share brony accounts with their wife or their partner, which I found to be really interesting. Both of the people that one of the people that I talked to, he had said he shares an account with his wife. Like they're huge brony fans. And we'll get into a little bit about like why they're in, because I did again interview a couple of people who were so kind to talk to me, who were kind enough to talk to me, I should say. Now, I want to shout them out really quick because I asked them a few questions. And again, they were super nice. But shout out to Bob in the Brony and Pegasister Lounge Facebook group. Thank you to the Brony and Pegasister Lounge Facebook group. You're more than welcome to like, comment, subscribe, the notification bell. You can sponsor the show. We take money from anyone. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. Yeah. Daniels takes money from the CIA. So CIA and the Brony and Pegasister Lounge are our biggest sponsors.
And they just want to copy my phone every couple of weeks. It's crazy.
It's honestly awesome. Yeah. And so thank you, Bob, and thank you to Top Kick, who I had met in the Brony and Pegasister Lounge, but he also has a really unique and awesome Facebook group on his own. He's the head artist over at First Awesome Platoon, which is it's a Facebook account. It's a Facebook group made up of almost 6,000 people who are huge brony fans, and they are first responders, ex-military, cops, like all sorts of people. It's like a very specific niche group, and a lot of them were so kind and they were generous to talk to me. So I hope I do you guys well, and I hope that you pay for Daniel's. He's gonna dye his hair like Princess Celestia after this. So just in case you wonder, that's what Daniel's hair is gonna look like, and I'm gonna get a horn. With all of this sponsorship, I'm going to get a horn and a crown. I swear to God. I think you could do it, Daniel.
I can do it. I can pull it off.
You look really good.
It would complement my skin tone for sure.
Brown, yeah. Did you see my pony? Did I show you it already? Look at him. We're already in the group.
Yeah, no, that's totally you. I feel like it's very emblematic. Just it's your vibe.
It is. It feels like my vibe. All right. Well, hopefully Daniel's ready for his tax evasion. You guys are good at these jokes. Truly. And then Jordan says Songbird Serenade is second best pony. She's played by the singer Sia. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's also that whole aspect too, where there is a whole community of artists and recognizable, we'll call them celebrities, who have at one point or another worked with Lauren Faust, the creator of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So, all right. Well, moving on from that. So the makeup of them is pretty interesting. And one of the things that I'd asked some of them is, how did you get into the Brony fandom? Because, one of them, he's ex-military. Another one, he's a father. So Bob said, I actually got into My Little Pony as a brony with my daughter. I didn't expect to get hooked, though. Hoofed. No, Bob. Bob, I don't know if you're watching, but I hope you're not watching for that joke. We started Friendship is Magic, and by season 3, I was excited for every episode, which becomes a very common thread. You'll find that we're just going to put it out there. 25 minutes into the episode, one of the common misnomers of the franchise, and it's something that I had asked everyone as well. I said, what's something that you think is a very common misconception, again, about the Brony fandom? And Bob said, the most common thing I'd say is that people think that all Bronies are nerdy and immature, but I talked to other, that's right, Bob's a mechanic. He's a mechanic. And he's like, I talked to other mechanics and I've gotten them into the show and they're like, yeah, it's cute. And it has like good morals. And then Top Kick, who is the gentleman that runs that account, said, I would say a common misconception is that bronies are weird or perverted. And he said, like, rightfully, that exists. And we'll get into a little bit of some of the controversies that maybe have unrightfully stained. Oh, damn it. Unrightfully stained, the community for the poor, for the worse. But he said a lot of them are just people who enjoy watching the show, parents like themselves. Many bronies are upstanding members of the community, such as the group that he runs, again, which is First Awesome Platoon. So if you are interested in the My Little Pony fandom and are active military or ex-military, or I don't even think you have to be, check it out. Check out the First Awesome Platoon. So yeah, and I think it was interesting to talk to them, Daniel, because they were so earnest and they were very kind in response. And like, I don't know, we talked to a lot of people for a lot of fandoms, and I'm just gonna say this: I've had better conversations with the 8 or 9 bronies than I've had with some major members of fandoms that I won't say which fandoms, but some fandoms tend to be more toxic and protective of being interviewed.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
I feel like there's a lot of like perception, like, oh, we're out to get a gotcha kind of soundbite out of that.
Exactly.
Defensive for sure.
Yeah, that's funny. But it is they are just like they are just a group, and again, predominantly for this because it is in the interest of the story, a group of men or people identifying as men who are bronies. Like, obviously there's an entire wing of people that are called, the Pegasisters. That's what they, like, I guess they would be the female equivalent to bronies or female identifying equivalent to bronies. But specifically we're focused on bronies. So with that, moving kind of back into the anatomy of them, I found a really interesting study done, Daniel, in 2015. And it was a study in 2015 that involved over 50,000 fans. Oh, no. We, like T'Challa. No. We don't do that here. And so here's what they found when they surveyed over 50,000 fans. I believe it was over the course of a few different like BronyCons or specific My Little Pony conventions. And I believe from this article, it was a study done, I believe, by Stanford, that it was just things that it was just people that they could like get to respond. And I mean, so as far as the sexuality goes, of most 84% heterosexual, 10.3% bisexual, only 1.7% homosexual, and 3.8% asexual, which I felt was important to include because so many times that I've worked in comic book stores or worked in pop culture, like the first thing that anyone would always say whenever they were discussing My Little Pony fans is like, oh, they're just like closeted gay people. And in some of the documentaries we watch, Daniel, like we even see, I mean, we can talk specifically about the John DeLance documentary, which is controversial in its own right. We had, let's see, do we have an image of it? But it is called, it's John DeLance Bronies, The Extremely Unexpected Adult Fans of My Little Pony is the name of the documentary, which was a documentary made for My Little Pony fans, kind of by My Little Pony fans, by John DeLance, who I believe was Q in Star Trek, but he also voiced some characters. There he is. Yeah, him. He did a documentary, which is, we'll say, we watched 2 documentaries specifically that we'll credit. The first one is this that we just talked about. The second one is by Jenny Nicholson, who is, she's pretty popular, and it's called The Last BronyCon, a Fandom Autopsy, which is more critical of the fandom and also more critical of John Delancey's documentary as a whole. Daniel, I mean, what did you think coming out of both of those documentaries?
There was definitely like a bias to one of them. One of them it felt like a nice like post-mortem, and that was Jenny Nicholson's. It felt like a good overview. It was like the good, the bad, all the weird kind of left field things that came out of the fandom. Whereas John Delancey's kind of felt like almost like a defense of Bronies, like almost like he's trying to go in and like clear the air about like what a Brony is, and that perception that a lot of people tended to have about them. And there was a lot of threads in that documentary about like, oh, I like My Little Pony, but I don't want to be perceived as gay or feminine. Or
right. It was very heavy on that. And it was interesting to me to then, flip to Jenny Nicholson's video, which is an autopsy on a fandom. And it was very critical of that, in that it phrased it as like the worst thing you could be, gay. And that's how a lot of John Delancey's I felt documentary undercut some of the Bronies, where it's like I felt like there are so many members of that community, some of the great ones that we talked to, who were like, none of that's important. Like, what does it matter? Like why does that matter? And it seems like John Delancey was like very focused on being like, no, these are normal guys. They're really normal dudes. Like, look at me. Like, I'm a totally normal straight guy, and I'm walking around. And I felt that it did a really good job. If you guys do watch, I do find it complete. I've watched it like 3 times now, and it is a very interesting documentary just to watch. And again, that is the one specifically that I'm talking about now is Bronies, the extremely unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony, the one by John Delancey, which has been called Horse Propaganda, which I love. Which, Daniel, when we eventually start our metal band, that's the name of it. Horse Propaganda. Oh, and Daniel's out. Well, don't know what happened there, but I think it does a really, really interesting job in John Delancey's video. Oh, you're back. I'm back. Welcome. I had to vamp.
It was good. It was good. I heard it from the green room.
Oh, that's good, Steve. Horse propaganda. Sounds like someone's trying to stir up a cult following.
I've yet to see a good spur pun. Spur. The little like spinny thingy.
Well, I am curious. I know we may have one or two of our new Brony friends in the comments hanging out. I'm curious if you've watched these documentaries, either one of them, and what you think of them. Because as 2 outsiders to the fandom, we found them both very interesting for different reasons. I feel I don't know about you, Daniel, but I felt they were both super important to the fandom for different reasons.
I agree. Yeah, no, it was definitely like 2, I'd say, worthwhile perspectives of the fandom and like what what encompasses it. But I'm a sucker for a good Jenny Nicholson video essay, and she was just, I don't know, something about it felt like so on point and very direct with it. Because within it, she kind of goes over like how she herself is somewhat horse famous, which is a term that you learn means that they produce content. One thing about the My Little Pony fandom is that it really does generate a lot of creative content. There's a lot of like web cartoons and web comics and original characters, and people will draw their pony sona and animate it, or there was music made, there was a ton, and a lot of these people become horse famous and get featured at like the conventions and whatnot.
Yeah, and I feel that John Delancey's an unexpected journey. I keep thinking of Lord of the Rings every time. But the unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony, his documentary does do a good job at showcasing the creativity within the community from different people. Like you have people from all over, like small little rural parts who are making toys in Germany, people who are from Israel doing like light shows. And I'm not sure if you saw, but there was one guy named like the tombstone sounds or something, and he is like he's the guy in the documentary who's like the DJ, and he's like kind of like losing it, right? He's got like 6 million subscribers on YouTube, dude.
Wow.
Like these are not numbers to shake your mane at. Like the entire My Little Pony fandom is so massive that they can create and support in and of themselves an economy for like a micro economy for an artist like that. Granted, this artist has also moved on to Five Nights at Freddy's songs. He's moved on to Fortnite songs, but like he really cut his teeth on. Did horses have teeth?
Yeah, because horses bite.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they? Yeah, they are really, really like horse famous. They gained their normal fame and they came from horse fame, pretty much is where it is. And it was interesting.
It is something to think about in that, like you said, it can almost create like a little microeconomy of, like you really underestimate how many people exist in this fandom. And I don't know if we've touched on it, but there is a 5th generation of ponies, right? So the big one was My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and then now the new one is they moved on to like a computer animated version. And it stars like Vanessa Hudgens, and I'm kind of blanking on the names now, but some big names, and they're it's definitely like a new direction, but it's one of those things where I feel like it's a cycle starting over, and then now who knows how many fans this is going to bring in or push away.
I'm curious. Again, Jordan, I see you kind of active in the comments. I know you seem to be one of our newer listeners and also a Brony. Are you enjoying G5? I did see in some of the safe for work Reddit threads that I got into that they were not as excited, that the fandom is pretty divided within within itself over G5. But I think that is a great. The new ones look crazy. They do look crazy. Yeah, they do. They kind of scare me a little. Can you bring them up again? They kind like I don't
mind them. For me, they feel kind of like a good mix of like maybe like the older one and the one before that, but 3D. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. It just weirds me out. You know what I don't like is the one over there, like top left with the midsummer crown on. It almost looks like here. If you could take the thing down, it almost looks like they can like wave with their hoof like that, and horses can't do that, and that freaks me out.
Oh yeah,
I don't like it.
Ugh.
I don't like it. Alexis, I found some of the names. Vanessa Hudgens, Sunny Star Scout. James Marsden? What?
Wow.
Is Hitch
Trailblazer.
Hitch Trailblazer. Yeah, that would be a freaking Marsden name. Liza Koshy. Oh, Liza Koshy's the YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Phyllis Clover, Leaf Jane Krasowski. Okay, I know YouTube kind of jumbles up the things, but I get what she's saying, and that like they've got some serious names because they've now realized that like much like in like Gen 2 where they completely changed and moved into a radical direction with the ponies, you see a different change now with Gen 5 where they're like, oh, there's like money to be made here.
Yeah.
And so
they're chasing the bag.
Get the bag. Bag of apples. These aren't going to be great jokes for me all day, but I don't know. We'll see. So one of the things I wanted to move into is part 2, which is going to be like the last main part, but this is my attempt, a stable fandom. Because Thanks. On one hand, you've got a ton of positives that they've done for the community. On the other hand, with that, like with every fandom, comes the other side of that coin, which is controversy. And so, getting into almost immediately, I just want to kind of get out of the way some of the controversies that we've seen, that maybe we've heard from the My Little Pony fandom, specifically the Bronies, is the not safe for work content. That's a big one. And that was a big one that's in the show. And the reason is, like, you can like what you like, you can do what you want to do. But one thing that is important to remember here is that the show is predominantly marketed to a young audience. And the young audience tends to not, at a young age, be able to discern what they are looking for immediately. And so there is that ability for them to look and find some of that not safe for work content. It's very complicated, Steve, from what I've looked at. Not what I on Wikipedia is that most of them, I think, specifically with where'd she go? With Twilight Sparkle, that she's 18. So that's sort of the weird line that is walked with some of this content, which, again, do what you want to do, but just remember the space in which you are inhabiting and who it was predominantly made for. So the issue of being a subset of Brony, the community's created adult content fans and stories featuring the MLP characters, and the content as I learned this word, which I wish I didn't, because I had it in a couple times, is clop.
Mm-hmm.
That's the not safe for work content. That's what it's called. So be mindful, everyone, and just be very careful when if you're looking. If there's like some weird soda brand that's decided to name themselves that, and they're like, let me look up this soda brand on my work computer, just be mindful. So it's led to concerns, obviously, like I said, from parents and a broader public, but many within the fandom, have responded to it by distancing themselves from such material, by being very, very active, being very, very active to avoid that in the groups and the spaces that they operate, to make sure that they are all ages. So that's been great. Also, one of the other odd things that's kind of come from it is, I can't really say the word because then our video can possibly be taken down, but 1942 Mustache Man and his party imagery. So that is it was, there was some fan art and online forums that included Mustache Man symbols or characters inspired by them, such as Ariane, which is a pony depicted with racist and fascist themes. And so it sparked like a lot of heated debates, because I found this to be particularly interesting, Daniel, within the fandom, that there tended to be a lot of Mustache Man imagery and party imagery within it. And I think, from reading, I'm going to armchair theorize here. I think it's because that sort of mindset in the modern day is already such a far-leaning, isolated, weird-ass fandom in its own way, and they are already so marginalized that when they find another thing that they are also interested in, like My Little Ponies, and they merge the two, they're like, I'm already marginalized in both of these things that I'm interested in. Like, why not just merge them and go even further right?
Yeah, kind of like consistently pushing that envelope. So like what's maybe acceptable, what's shocking at the end of the day. Because a lot of the Brony activity kind of started with like 4chan and like those forum sites that, you see a lot of like, that kind of stuff there that sympathizes with it. And, I think a lot of it comes down to like that initial, like, oh, I like this ironically, kind of divulging into like the, that mindset, like you said, where it's like, they're already kind of here and now they're in like the ponies, and where does that intersect, or how can they make that intersect? But it is kind of disturbing. I remember seeing some of that on like Tumblr and immediately just being like weirded out. But I wasn't in the fandom. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
So to see a random pony, with an armband, it was really off-putting.
You're like,
Well, I don't know what this show's about.
You're like, I have concerns. You're like, I did not know that that's what My Little Pony was about. So again, one of the other issues is there have been allegations against fandom leaders. You've got the documentary backlash that we were talking about. But despite these controversies, many bronies have worked to maintain like an incredibly positive and inclusive community, focusing on the values of the My Little Pony franchise, as we talked about earlier, that you start seeing in Gen 1, which have never really left the fandom, which is friendship, kindness, creativity, and adventure. And so there have been so many positives that have come out of that community. And again, we had talked about Top Kick being one of them, of being this respite for fans who were in the military, or they were first responders, and they had pony interests, and they moved over to this group and had met so many incredible people. And I had chatted with, again, both of them. So from Bob from the Brony and Pegasister Lounge, he said, the fandom has actually come to mean a lot to me. The values of the show have actually made me a better person. Some of the things of the show talk about things like de-escalating situations, which are very good in everyday life. And I actually use some of the quotes from the show to de-escalate things at work at the mechanic shop when we're about to brawl it out. So being a mechanic, and I work with a lot of young men, I feel like the show, you can really learn a lot from it. And Top Kick, who is the artist at First Awesome Platoon, said, he said, the fandom is its people. The fandom houses many kind and tolerant people. And some socially awkward people, sure, with abnormal interest, sure, but overall, intrinsically good people. Good people bound by belief in the good and in the tenets of the show, which are friendship, magic, and adventure. I think, and again, like to Jen Edwards' point there, saying there's a lot of ick. With that, fortunately, there is a lot of good. Like with any fandom, we've all seen it, right? We've all been in groups. We were all in one large group at the old place that I used to work at, and there's always the good and the naysayers. That one's on purpose. And so back to being like, some of the other things that the My Little Pony fans, the Brony fandom has done is charitable fundraising. Dude, I didn't know about this. Like there's
me either.
So many like pony charities that it's insane. So they've raised a significant amount of money for various charitable causes. The fandom organized charity Bronies for Good has supported projects like building schools, providing clean water in developing countries, and funding medical initiatives, as well as according to Equestria Daily, which if anyone knows anyone from there, we would love to be featured. We would love to just be as horse famous as possible. And but there was a thing called the Brony Thank You Fund. And this spring, like a month ago, the board of directors met and formally voted to dissolve the fund because they've been in the process of winding down operations for a while. But really, the pandemic, they took a turn because they would go to a lot of different Brony cons, but with them all being closed down and a majority of the Brony cons being put on hold because of the pandemic, a lot of their fundraising came from selling t-shirts and mugs and calendars, and all that went away. So they still had some money in the bank. They completely dissolved it. And it turns out the balance, which was about $34,000, was all sent to CalArts to increase the balance of something called the Derpy Hooves Scholarship in character animation. And I just thought that was wonderful. Like that was such a cool way to give back to like the future of people creating animation that maybe they could love.
Yeah. Kind of starts the cycle over again.
Yeah. Steve Boo. Remember he was going to go to bed? We got him. We got him for 48 minutes too. So, I mean, like they've raised millions of dollars, millions and millions. They've also, one of the more important things that I feel has come from this is the level of inclusivity and acceptance, which seems to be something that is really what a lot of these bronies who before they were bronies were looking for. They were looking for a place where maybe they had particular interests, and then they were, into ponies, and they had just met these other people with similar interest who just accepted them for things that they love. And again, most of them are just incredibly kind. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty great to see so much of that really, really still happening. And again, encouraging kindness and positivity. And it's like I can see it, Daniel. I was as I'm like reading this, we've been talking about this for like what 2 weeks now, and I'm like, I get the fandom.
Yeah, I agree. Watching the Jenny Nicholson video, when it ended, she kind of talks about how like BronyCon ended really on like a good solid note. They were starting to see like numbers decline, but they went out with a bang. And I think this is from 2019's BronyCon. They had like the highest attendance they ever had, and I want to say I did get it here. They had a total of 10,215 attendees. And when it ended, she talks about like how the fandom sort of, the convention itself kind of wound down, and I felt myself almost feeling nostalgic for this thing that I'd never had any interest in before, and it was kind of sad. I felt like I missed a boat or something.
Yeah. It's really cool to see that like that community came through for it. I had asked a few different people like what conventions, and there's still tons of conventions that you can go to today but they're more specific to My Little Pony. I'm not sure how many like Brony cons are still there. Like BronyCon, the designer brand, like the name brand is no longer a thing. That's what Daniel was just talking about, which dissolved in 2019, which is the last one. But it's just something that I found to be like so interesting. And, I hope that, as we're kind of like winding down with this show, that you kind of like have come to understand that's like, oh, it's not really like this isn't a paid ad. It's just, Big Brony is not sponsoring the show. It is just something. Jen, there was one in San Antonio. Like I meant more like the name again, the name brand BronyCon. They are like little pop up shows, or I mean they're bigger, they're not pop up, but they're not BronyCon. Anyways, it's interesting. Like it's no different. Well, I mean there's a lot of differences and there's a lot of bad things, obviously, and we skipped over quite a bit because it just didn't want the show to be about that. But like, I mean, Daniel, like with any fandom that we see, right? Like whether it's Marvel or DC or Star Wars, like it's just a place for people to hang out that they want to feel safe and it not be the real world for an hour or two.
Yeah. I feel like we're losing third spaces. That conversation has been going on for quite a bit, but it's one of those things where it kind of speaks to people seeking communities. And I feel like if you can find a community within even just this cartoon that you watch, it's something to latch on to, you really can build a community from the ground up.
Yeah. And boy, howdy, did the Bronies build a community from the ground up. I mean, honestly, in the end, the Brony community proves that fandoms are more than just the media or the cartoon or whatever it may be that they celebrate. They're about like the connections, the creativity, and the kindness that they inspire. From raising millions to fostering inclusivity and emotional support, Bronies have shared their love for colorful ponies into a force for good. They remind us that embracing joy and breaking stereotypes and spreading positivity can leave an impact for those beyond the world of Equestria. So next time you see a Brony in public, use your pinky sense and give them a solid bro hoof. Wrong way. Bro hoof. Boom. And that's it. That's Bronies, everyone. That's all I got.
That was fun. Bronies is a big one.
How do you feel, Daniel? If you were at a 0, at 10 being I'm joining the fandom as soon as we're done with the show, and 0 it's never out, where are you now?
Not like a solid 7, right?
Okay.
Like my curiosity's definitely been piqued, right? Everybody says like, well, within the documentaries, a lot of the people that were saying like, oh, I'm not gay, but I just like My Little Pony. They were saying, the writing's really good. The sense of humor caught me off guard. The animation's great, which all sound kind of superficial, but somewhat of enough of a reason to check it out. And I might go watch a couple episodes.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes and I'm like, show's not for me. Realistically, I'm going to be honest with you, Applejack Mafia. Show's not for me. But I think I'm more interested in the fans than the fandom.
Gotcha.
Like, I think it just appears to be more interesting to me.
And that's fair. The fans are really representative of the fandom.
Mm-hmm. They make up, and they gallop the fandom along one hoof at a time. And, it's just something that I think is it's really interesting. And again, I love Bluey. Don't even get me started. Bluey's fantastic. One. Also, Bluey, I've heard, is the new Brony.
I could see that.
In all iterations that we've talked about tonight, Bluey's the new My Little Pony. So
yeah, but worth it.
But that's not what our show is about. Our show is about Bronies. And if you are a Brony and you are watching, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I think, next week we are not doing a show, which is next Monday. We're off next Monday. We both got quite a bit to do. You can find us on Facebook at Fandom Socialites. You can find us anywhere. You can find us on YouTube, which is where you're watching, on Twitter X, which we never post on Instagram, which we also never post on. What else don't we post on, Daniel?
Our LinkedIn.
Our LinkedIn for the business shouties. No, we do not. And our TikTok, we also don't post on. But we do check our email mostly for StreamYard codes. So it's hello@Fandom Social, but you're always more than welcome to email us because I do check it pretty religiously. Let us know if there's any other fandoms or topics that you'd love for us to cover. We've got a really, really fun slate of things we want to do for the rest of the year and beyond. Again, next Monday, which is December 2nd, we do not have a show. We're gonna take that day, and then the following one we've got a pop culture news and headlines, which we're excited for, and then after that we've got another fandom that we're focusing on, which I don't want to talk about yet. We will tell everyone what that is during our next episode on the 9th. But it is, well, not your best work, Steve. That's it, everyone. Thank you all so much. And we got in under an hour. I feel like we probably could have talked more.
I think so. Yeah. Bronies was such a big topic. And we've been kind of tossing around the idea for a year, maybe. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we came in under an hour, but you should have seen Paul's script. It was at least 8 pages?
It's 8 pages. I really cut it down for this show because I realized within the first 15 minutes of this show, we'd only gotten through the intro, and I was like, I need to way tone this down.
But hey, it worked. No, that was really good. The horse puns were on point, everyone. Great job.
For everyone but us. Everyone else crushed it. Yeah, you guys are awesome. What Daniel, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? What are you grateful for?
For you, Paul.
That's not what my answer is going to be.
Oh, well, that's not what we rehearsed. So
I'm thankful for Bronies. I'm thankful for therapy. I'm thankful for my new jacket. And you, I guess, Daniel.
Aww.
Yeah. So let us know, everyone. What's everyone doing for What are you most excited for, Daniel, for Thanksgiving? What's your favorite food?
The stuffing, honestly.
Really?
I'm not a turkey person.
I get that.
Yeah.
Wrong,
I've tried chicken, tried ham. Well, no, I do like ham. But yeah.
Are you like he's like you tried chicken?
Like a Thanksgiving chicken.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm definitely.
How's a Thanksgiving chicken?
It's a chicken you cook on Thanksgiving. It's different.
That makes just no sense. Jin says, "What? No 5-hour show? No. I don't think anyone would want to hear us talk for 5 hours.
I don't know.
Let's try it.
What if we run the what is it, the Twilight Zone marathon that day on our channel?
Yeah.
Let's be putting it up after we get like stricken down by what is it, Universal? But
DCAs. You can't stop the news. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let us know your favorite pony. Let us know your pony Sona. We'll send you guys in the Facebook group. We'll put the link in so you guys can make your own ponies like me and Daniel did. And we'll see you guys on the 9th at 7 p.m. PST. Thank you all so much. Remember, like what you love what you like, and make a pinky promise that we'll see you next week. But 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I already fucked that up.
all
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Let's do it. Riding my pony.